The past perfect is the past before the past. You can use it to talk about an event that happened before another event in the past. The past perfect is formed with had plus past participle. For example, I had studied English for several years before I traveled to the US. I hadn't studied English before I traveled to the US. Had you studied English before you traveled to the US? Example 1. Imagine you are late for work on the day of an important meeting. The meeting started at 8 a.m. You arrived at 8:15. You can use the past perfect to say, the meeting had already started by the time I arrived. Example 2. Imagine that there is a husband and wife who got divorced last year. Before the divorce, they were married for 3 years. They were married from 2008 to 2011. They got divorced in 2011. You can use the past perfect to say, they had been married for 3 years when they divorced. With the past perfect, it's possible to have the structure had and hadn't had in a sentence when had is both the auxiliary verb and the main verb. For example, I told my boss that I hadn't had enough time to finish the project. In general, these words, only when used about a situation in the past, signal the use of the past perfect in the sentence. By the time, I'd finished all the work by the time you called. When we arrived at the airport, our flight had already left. Before we sold our car, we had owned it for 12 years. Until, had never met a native English speaker until he visited London. She said that she'd lost her wallet.